Now that we have account verification working, let's go ahead and implement password reset. And the actual code is going to look pretty similar. So in verification, we created a verification code and we sent the user an email that had a link back to a verification page where the verification code was sent as a get parameter in the URL. And for password reset, we're going to do something really similar. We're going to have a password reset code that's going to be stored in the database. And we're going to use that to construct an email to the user. And when the user clicks on a link in that email, it's going to load a password reset page, which will take the reset code as a parameter, a get parameter. So let's start with the database part. And I'm going to go to localhost and go to phpMyAdmin. And then under databases, share users table, structure, I'm going to add one more field. So add one column after verification code. And this will be the reset code. And it's going to be 10 characters as well. So text, and I'll make it 10. I could use a different length if I wanted, but that's fine. And then all the rest of the defaults are fine. So now if we browse the data, we see that there's a new reset code field, which is completely empty. So in your database class, under shared database, let's go ahead and add support for this. So we have a verification code key. So let's add a reset code key that matches the name of the column. And then all this stuff is the same. Confuser, add user. So store verification, we want store reset code. And then this will still take a username and a code. Users table, this is going to be the reset code key now. And we'll call this, I'm going to select that and go to refactor, rename, and change this to reset code. And that gets both occurrences. And then just hit return in here. So you'll notice that doesn't affect this function, it just affects this one. And then username key is the same, share, safe username. And then the query is going to be the same, except, actually this is all the same. So that's it for storing the reset code. And then for looking up the user, let's also have it return the reset code. So I could do this as a separate function, but I'm just going to go ahead and add that. And then after the verification code, we'll include reset code. And then this is all going in an associative array, so we don't have to do anything else. And that should be it for the database layer. Now, I could stop here, but as a programmer, every time I have two pieces of code that are significantly similar, I should always be a little uncomfortable about that because there's two pieces of code that need to be changed if I modify code. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to refactor this just a little bit before I stop. So store verification and store reset code, the only difference is this verification code is that, and reset code is this. and I'm using that here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a helper function, and I'm just going to start by copying that, pasting in a copy, and I'm going to call this store code. And it's going to have a username, a code, and a column. And the column is going to be this thing right here. And then store verification is going to use that helper function. Actually, this should be private because I don't need to let anybody else see this. So store verification is just going to call store code and pass in username, code, and for column, share database verification code key. And that's all we need for that. And then same thing for store reset code. So that should work exactly the same, except now I only have this block of code once.